A janitor's daughter was cleaning weapons in a Navy training facility. Then she found one rifle with a serial number that changed everything. For 3 months, it was her secret duty. Lily, a quiet 14-year-old, helped her mother clean the weapons at the Naval Special Warfare Training Center. It was just another rifle on the rack, number 73. Then one day, she looked closer at the serial number etched into the metal. When the Master Chief saw it, his face went white. A teenage girl learned that some weapons carry more than bullets. They carry legacies. Lily Martinez held the cleaning cloth in her small hands, the scent of gun oil and metal polish filling her nose. It was a smell she had grown to know as well as her own shampoo. The weapons cleaning room was cold, even in the California heat. The air conditioning hummed constantly, keeping the temperature exactly 68 degrees to protect the equipment. She stood at Station 12, one of 15 identical metal tables arranged in neat rows. Each table had a rubber mat, a tray of cleaning supplies, and a weapon waiting to be serviced. Today, like every Tuesday and Thursday after school, she was here helping her mother. Maria Martinez, Lily's mom, worked for the contracted cleaning service that maintained the Naval Special Warfare Center in Coronado. It was not a glamorous job. It was not even a particularly good-paying job. But it was stable, and after Lily's father had left them 2 years ago, stable was everything. The center was where Navy SEALs trained. It was where the best of the best came to learn how to be even better. The buildings were plain concrete and steel, no nonsense and functional. There were no tourists here, no cameras, no visitors without the highest clearance. Lily was not supposed to be here at all. Technically, the rules were clear. No minors, no unauthorized personnel, no exceptions. But Mrs. Patterson, the site supervisor, had made an exception. She had seen Maria working double shifts, had seen the exhaustion in her eyes, had learned that Lily would otherwise be alone at home until 8 or 9 at night. So a quiet arrangement was made. Lily could come after school, she could sit in the break room and do her homework, she could stay out of sight, and if she wanted to help with the simple tasks, the non-classified ones like cleaning already disassembled training weapons, well, Mrs. Patterson would look the other way. Lily was good at being invisible. She had learned that skill the same way her mother had. Be quiet, be helpful, don't make waves. Don't give anyone a reason to notice you because being noticed meant being a problem, and problems got sent away. She picked up the upper receiver of the rifle in front of her. It was an M4 carbine, the standard weapon used in basic training rotations. This one was marked with a yellow training band, meaning it was used for instruction only, never loaded with live ammunition. The metal was cold against her fingers. She dipped her cloth in the small bottle of CLP, the cleaning lubricant protectant that smelled sharp and chemical. She began to wipe down the bolt carrier group just like her mother had taught her. Small circles, even pressure. Get into the grooves, remove every speck of carbon, every hint of residue. A clean weapon is a reliable weapon, and for the men who trained here, reliability meant life or death. Lily did not think about that part too much. She just focused on the work. It was meditative in a way. The repetition, the attention to detail, it was so different from school, where she felt awkward and out of place. Here, in this cold room with the hum of the air conditioning and the smell of gun oil, she felt useful. Her mother was 3 tables over, working on a disassembled machine gun. Maria's hands moved with practiced efficiency, her face set in concentration. She was a small woman, barely 5 feet tall, with dark hair always pulled back in a practical ponytail. Her hands were rough and calloused, but her touch was gentle and precise. Lily loved watching her mother work. There was a dignity in it, a quiet pride. Maria might be a cleaner, but she was the best cleaner. She took her work seriously. She never cut corners. And slowly, over the past 2 years, that dedication had been noticed. The SEALs who trained here, the instructors who ran the programs, they had started to nod at Maria in the hallways. They had started to say good morning. One had even left a thank you note once, taped to a rifle case. Cleanest weapons in the Navy, thank you. Maria had kept that note. It was taped to their refrigerator at home. Lily, her mother called softly, when you finish that one, can you start on the rack in the back, the ones marked for long-term storage? Yes, Mama, Lily replied. She finished wiping down the bolt, reassembled the upper receiver, and placed it carefully back in its designated slot. Then she walked to the back of the room. The long-term storage rack was different. These were not the everyday training weapons. These were older rifles, some of them decades old, kept for historical purposes or specialized training scenarios. They were cleaned less frequently, maybe once a month, and they required more care. Lily scanned the rack. Most of them had tags indicating the last service date. She found one that was overdue. It was in slot 73 near the bottom. She pulled it out carefully, using both hands. It was heavier than the M4s she was used to. The weight was distributed differently. She carried it to her table and laid it down on the rubber mat. It was a different kind of rifle entirely, longer, heavier. It had a large scope mounted on top, and the barrel was thick and fluted. Even to Lily's untrained eye, this looked serious. She looked at the tag wired to the trigger guard. It was yellowed with age, the handwriting faded but still legible. M40A1 7.62 Mauser Bolt Action Sniper System. Last serviced March 2019. Authorization required for removal from facility. Lily felt a small thrill of nervousness. This was not a training rifle, this was the real thing. Well, it had been the real thing. Now it was retired, a relic kept for teaching history. She looked over at her mother. Maria was still focused on her own work. Lily decided she could handle this. It was just cleaning, after all. The rifle was not loaded. It was not even complete. The bolt had been removed for safety, stored separately. She began to work. First, she removed the scope, setting it carefully aside. Then she used a brush to sweep away the dust that had accumulated in the crevices. The rifle had been sitting for almost 5 years. It was dusty, but not dirty. Someone had put it away properly. Lily worked slowly, methodically. She cleaned the barrel with a bore snake, pulling it through carefully. She wiped down the stock, which was made of wood, not the plastic polymer of modern rifles. The wood was smooth and worn. The finish faded in places where hands had gripped it thousands of times. There was something almost sad about it, Lily thought. This rifle had been used. It had served, and now it sat on a rack, forgotten. She turned it over to clean the underside of the stock. That is when she saw it. Carved into the wood near the butt plate were initials. They were small, barely noticeable, carved with a knife or some sharp tool. The letters were simple and clean. JRM below. The initials, also carved, was a number. Lily stared at it. 84? What? She did not know. 84 missions? 84 confirmed targets? It felt important, but she had no context. She kept cleaning, but her mind was elsewhere. She wondered who JRM was. She wondered if he was still alive. She wondered if he even remembered this rifle. Then she noticed something else. On the metal receiver, just below where the scope had been mounted, there was a serial number. All weapons had serial numbers, she knew that. But this one had something extra. The serial number itself was standard, a string of numbers and letters stamped into the metal. But next to it, hand-engraved in tiny, precise letters, was something else. Property of J. Martinez. Lily froze. Martinez. Her last name, her father's last name, her name. It was probably a coincidence. Martinez was a common name. There were probably thousands of Martinez families in the military. But still, seeing it there, engraved into this old, forgotten rifle, made her heart beat a little faster. She looked at the initials again. JRM. If the rifle belonged to a J. Martinez, then maybe the R was a middle initial? She shook her head. She was being silly. This had nothing to do with her. Her father had never been in the military. He had been a mechanic. He had left when Lily was 12, and she had not heard from him since. But still, she could not stop staring at the name. Lily, are you okay? Her mother's voice startled her. Maria had walked over, concerned by how long Lily had been standing still. I'm fine, Mama, Lily said quickly. I was just looking at this rifle. It's old. Maria looked at the rifle, then at the tag. M40, that's a sniper rifle, a good one. They used these for many years. She smiled. You are doing a good job, but be careful. These old ones, they have history. Treat them with respect. I will, Lily promised. Maria went back to her work. Lily continued cleaning, but she could not stop thinking about the name. She took out her phone, careful to keep it low and out of sight. Photography was strictly forbidden in the facility, but she was not taking pictures. She was just looking something up. She typed into the search bar, J. Martinez Navy SEAL Sniper. The results were sparse. There were a few generic articles about famous snipers, a few memorial pages for fallen servicemen, nothing specific. She tried again. J.R. Martinez SEAL, still nothing useful. She was about to give up when she noticed one link buried on the third page of results. It was a forum post from a military history website dated 8 years ago. The post title was simple. Does anyone remember Javier Martinez? Lily clicked on it. The page loaded slowly on her phone. It was a discussion thread, mostly older veterans talking about people they had served with. The original post read, Does anyone remember Javier Ramon Martinez? He was a SEAL sniper, late 90s, early 2000s. I heard he had one of the highest confirmed counts in the teams, but never got recognition because most of his work was classified. He supposedly retired around 2005. Anyone know what happened to him? There were a few replies. One said, I served with Javier. Good man. Quiet. Scary good shot. He didn't like the spotlight. Last I heard he got out, went civilian. No idea where he ended up. Another said, Martinez was a legend. If half the stories are true, he saved dozens of lives. But yeah, he disappeared. Some guys do that. They just fade away. Lily's hands were shaking. Javier Ramon Martinez. JRM. Her father's name was Javier. His middle name was Ramon. But her father was not a SEAL. Her father was a mechanic. He fixed cars. He had rough hands and smelled like motor oil and cigarettes. He had a bad temper and drank too much, and when he left, her mother had cried for weeks but also seemed relieved. That Javier Martinez could not be this Javier Martinez. Could it? Lily looked at the rifle again. She looked at the initials. The number 84, the hand-engraved name. She felt dizzy. This was crazy. This was impossible. But what if it was not? Lily, it's almost 6, her mother called. Start packing up. We need to catch the bus. Okay, Mama, Lily said automatically. She quickly finished wiping down the rifle. She reassembled what she could, then carefully placed it back in slot 73. She did not tell her mother what she had found. She did not know how to explain it. She did not even know if there was anything to explain. That night, Lily could not sleep. She lay in her small bed in their small apartment, staring at the ceiling. The apartment was quiet except for the hum of the refrigerator and the distant sound of traffic outside. She kept thinking about the rifle, about the name, about the initials. She had not seen her father in 2 years. He had left without much explanation. There had been a fight, a big one. Lily had been in her room, but she had heard the shouting. She had heard her mother crying. She had heard the door slam. The next morning, his things were gone. Her mother had sat her down and explained, in a voice that was trying very hard to be calm, that Papa had left, that he needed to go away for a while, that it was not Lily's fault. But Lily had never quite believed that last part. She had spent 2 years wondering what she had done wrong, what she could have done differently. Her mother never talked about him. There were no photos of him in the apartment. It was as if he had been erased. But Lily remembered. She remembered a man who was quiet most of the time, who worked long hours, who sometimes seemed to be looking at something far away, even when he was sitting right next to her. She remembered that he had scars, thin white lines on his arms, and one across his shoulder. She remembered asking him once where they came from, and he had just said, "Work, mija, just work." She remembered that he sometimes woke up at night, breathing hard, and her mother would go to him and whisper soft words until he calmed down. She had thought he had nightmares about car accidents, about broken engines, normal things. What if they were not normal things? Lily rolled over and grabbed her phone from the nightstand. She opened the browser again. She searched for more information, digging deeper into military forums and archived news articles. She found a few more mentions of a Javier Martinez. One article from 2003 mentioned a classified operation in Afghanistan where a SEAL sniper had neutralized multiple enemy combatants from over 1,000 yards, protecting a convoy of Marines. The sniper's name was redacted, but the comments on the forum speculated it was Martinez. Another post from a different forum mentioned that Martinez had been recommended for a Navy Cross but had declined it. He did not want the attention. Lily read until her eyes hurt. She read until her phone battery was at 15%, and slowly a picture formed in her mind. Javier Ramon Martinez had been a SEAL. He had been a sniper. He had served with distinction, saved lives, done things that most people could never imagine. And then, for reasons unknown, he had left. He had walked away from that life and had never spoken of it again. He had become a mechanic. He had married her mother. He had tried to be normal, and he had failed. Lily did not know why he had left them, but for the first time she wondered if maybe, just maybe, it was not about her at all. Maybe it was about him, about things he had seen, about things he had done, about a life he could not leave behind no matter how hard he tried. She finally fell asleep just before dawn, her phone still clutched in her hand. The next day at school, Lily was a zombie. She sat through her classes in a daze, not hearing a word the teacher said. Her best friend Amy asked her twice if she was okay. Lily just nodded and said she had not slept well. At 3:15, she met her mother at the bus stop near the school. They rode in silence to the Naval Center. Maria looked tired, as always, but she smiled at Lily and squeezed her hand. "You're quiet today, mija," Maria said. "Just tired, Mama," Lily replied. They arrived at the center and checked in at the gate. The guard, a young sailor who always looked bored, waved them through without even looking up. They walked across the compound to the maintenance building, a squat concrete structure with no windows. Maria unlocked the weapons cleaning room, and they went inside. The familiar smell of gun oil and cold air greeted them. Lily felt a strange sense of anticipation, almost dread. She went straight to the back rack. She pulled out Rifle 73, the M40A1, the rifle with her father's name on it. She carried it to her table and began to clean it again, even though she had just cleaned it yesterday. She needed to hold it. She needed to see the initials, the number, the engraved name. She needed to prove to herself that it was real. She was so focused on the rifle that she did not hear the door open. She did not hear the heavy footsteps. She did not notice anything until a deep, gravelly voice spoke directly behind her. "Where did you get that rifle?" Lily jumped. She spun around, her heart hammering. A man stood behind her. He was tall, over 6 feet, with broad shoulders and a thick chest. He wore a tan instructor's uniform, the sleeves rolled up to reveal forearms that looked like they were carved from wood. His hair was cut short, gray at the temples, and his face was weathered and hard. But it was his eyes that caught Lily's attention. They were sharp, pale blue, and they were staring at the rifle in her hands with an expression she could not quite read. Shock, recognition, something like grief. I'm sorry, sir," Lily stammered. "I was just cleaning it. It's on the service schedule. I didn't—" "Put it down," the man said. His voice was not angry, but it was absolute. It was a command. Lily carefully placed the rifle back on the mat. The man stepped closer. He looked at the rifle like he was seeing a ghost. He reached out slowly, almost hesitantly, and touched the wooden stock. His fingers traced over the carved initials. J.R.M. Then he turned the rifle over and looked at the engraved serial number. His face went pale. Actually pale. The color drained out of his weathered, sun-beaten skin, and for a moment Lily thought he might faint. "Master Chief?" Another voice called from the doorway. A younger instructor, maybe in his 30s, poked his head in. "You okay, Master Chief Dalton?" The tall man, Master Chief Dalton, did not take his eyes off the rifle. "Clear the room," he said quietly. "Sir, clear the room, now." The younger instructor looked confused, but he nodded. "Yes, Master Chief." He looked at Maria, who had stopped working and was watching with wide, frightened eyes. "Ma'am, I'm going to have to ask you and your daughter to step outside for a moment." "Did we do something wrong?" Maria asked, her voice shaking. "Please, sir, we were just—" "You did nothing wrong," Master Chief Dalton said, finally looking up. His voice was gentler now, but there was a heaviness to it. "I just need a moment, please." Maria took Lily's hand and pulled her toward the door. Lily looked back over her shoulder. Master Chief Dalton had picked up the rifle now, holding it in both hands. He was staring at it like it was the most precious and the most painful thing he had ever seen. They stepped out into the hallway. The younger instructor, whose name tag read Petty Officer Crane, looked apologetic. "I'm sorry about this," he said. "Master Chief Dalton, he's one of the best instructors we have. But sometimes—" He hesitated. "Sometimes he sees things that bring back memories, you understand." Maria nodded. She understood. She had seen that look before, on a different man's face, in a different time. Lily's mind was racing. She wanted to ask questions. She wanted to run back in there and demand to know what was happening. But she stayed quiet. She held her mother's hand and waited. 5 minutes passed, then 10. Finally, the door opened. Master Chief Dalton stepped out. He looked older now, somehow, tired, but his eyes were clear. He looked at Maria first. "Ma'am, I apologize for the disruption. You and your daughter have done nothing wrong." Then he looked at Lily, really looked at her. He studied her face like he was searching for something. "What's your name?" he asked. "Lily Martinez, sir," she said quietly. "Martinez," he repeated. He closed his eyes for a moment, then opened them again. "How old are you, Lily?" 14, sir." He nodded slowly. "And your father?" Lily's throat tightened. He left 2 years ago. We don't know where he is." Master Chief Dalton's jaw tightened. He looked like he wanted to say something, but he stopped himself. Instead, he turned to Maria. "Ma'am, may I ask, what was your husband's full name?" Maria's face went white. She looked at Lily, then back at the Master Chief. "Javier Ramon Martinez," she whispered. "Why?" Master Chief Dalton did not answer right away. He looked back at the door to the cleaning room, then back at Maria. "Because, ma'am, that rifle in there belonged to him. I know because I served with him, and I've been looking for him for a very long time." The world seemed to tilt under Lily's feet. She heard her mother make a small, broken sound. She felt the hallway spinning around her. The rifle was his. Her father had been a SEAL, a sniper, and this man, this Master Chief, had known him. "I think," Master Chief Dalton said, his voice heavy, "we need to talk." They sat in a small conference room on the second floor of the administration building. It was plain and functional, with a metal table, plastic chairs, and a whiteboard on one wall. Master Chief Dalton had brought them here himself, walking in silence through the compound. Petty Officer Crane had tried to follow, curious, but Dalton had waved him off. "This is Private Crane. Go run the afternoon drills." Now the three of them sat around the table. Lily and her mother on one side, Master Chief Dalton on the other. He had brought the rifle with him, carrying it almost reverently. It now lay on the table between them. "I don't understand," Maria said. Her voice was shaking. "Javier never said he never told me." "He wouldn't have," Dalton said gently. "What we did, what we saw, it's not something most of us talk about, especially not to the people we love. We want to protect them from it." "But he lied to me," Maria said, tears welling in her eyes. "For years. He told me he was a mechanic before we met. He said he had worked on ships." "He did work on ships," Dalton said. "Just not the way you thought. He was a SEAL, ma'am. He served for 12 years. He was one of the best snipers I've ever known. Maybe the best." Lily found her voice. "The number on the rifle, 84. What does it mean?" Dalton looked at her. His expression was unreadable. "That's not something I can discuss, Lily, but I will tell you this. Your father saved a lot of lives, more than most people will ever know." "Then why did he leave?" Lily asked, her voice breaking. "Why did he leave us?" Dalton was quiet for a long moment. He looked down at the rifle, his fingers tracing the wood stock. "Because sometimes," he said finally, "the weight of what we've carried becomes too heavy, and we break, not because we're weak, but because we're human." He looked up at Maria. "Your husband, Javier, he was a good man. But the things he saw, the things he did, they stayed with him. Some of us, we find a way to live with it. We build walls, we compartmentalize. Others, they can't. It eats at them until there's nothing left but ghosts." Maria was crying now, silent tears running down her face. "I tried to help him. I tried so hard." "I know you did," Dalton said. "But this isn't something love can fix. This is something that has to come from inside. And some men, they never find their way back." Lily felt numb. For 2 years, she had wondered if her father left because of her, because she was not good enough, not smart enough, not worth staying for. And now this stranger was telling her it had nothing to do with her at all. It was about wars and ghosts and things she could never understand. She did not know if that made it better or worse. "Where is he?" Maria asked. "Do you know?" "No, ma'am," Dalton said. "I've tried to find him. After he left the teams, he vanished. Some guys do that. They just disappear, go off grid. I've asked around, called in favors, but no one knows where he is. It's like he doesn't want to be found." "Maybe he doesn't," Lily said quietly. Dalton looked at her. "Maybe," he agreed. "Or maybe he's ashamed. Maybe he thinks he's protecting you by staying away. Men like your father, we're taught to be strong, to never show weakness. When we break, we don't know how to ask for help. We just run." He reached into his pocket and pulled out a small notebook and a pen. He wrote something down, tore out the page, and slid it across the table to Maria. "That's my personal number," he said. "If you ever hear from him, or if you ever need anything, you call me. Understood?" Maria nodded, taking the paper with shaking hands. Dalton stood up. He picked up the rifle carefully. "I'm going to take this out of the rotation. It belongs in a better place. With respect." "What will you do with it?" Lily asked. "I'll keep it safe," he said, "until the day comes when I can give it back to the man who earned it." He walked to the door, then paused. He turned back to look at Lily. "Your father would be proud of you," he said. "You have his eyes, and his attention to detail. That's not a small thing." Then he was gone, the door closing softly behind him. Lily and her mother sat in silence for a long time. Finally, Maria reached over and took Lily's hand. "I'm sorry, Mija," she whispered. "I'm sorry I never told you. I didn't know. I swear I didn't know." "I know, Mama," Lily said. "It's okay." But it was not okay. Nothing was okay. Her entire understanding of her father, of her family, of herself, had just been shattered and rebuilt in the space of an hour. She looked at the empty chair where Master Chief Dalton had been sitting. She thought about the rifle, about the initials, about the number 84. 84 what? 84 lives saved? 84 missions completed? 84 reasons to be proud, or 84 reasons to run away? She did not know, but she knew one thing. She was going to find out. The days that followed were strange and heavy. Lily went to school, she sat through classes, she did her homework, but her mind was always somewhere else. It was in a conference room with a man who had known her father. It was in a weapons cleaning room with a rifle that carried her name. It was in a past she had never known existed. Her mother did not talk about it. Maria had put the piece of paper with Master Chief Dalton's number on the refrigerator, next to the old thank you note from the SEAL instructor. But she had not called him. She had not mentioned Javier's name. It was as if speaking about it would make it too real. But Lily could not let it go. She started researching. Every night after her mother went to bed, she would pull out her phone and search. She read about the Navy SEALs. She read about sniper training. She read about the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. She learned about the missions, the operations, the sacrifices. She found articles about post-traumatic stress, about veterans who came home with invisible wounds, about men who served with honor and then could not find their place in the world afterward. She read stories of suicide, of addiction, of families torn apart, and she understood in a way she had not before why her father might have left. Not because he did not love them, but because he did not know how to love himself anymore. 1 week after the encounter with Master Chief Dalton, Lily made a decision. She was going back to that weapons cleaning room. She was going to find out more. She needed to understand her father, even if he was not there to explain himself. That Thursday after school, she and her mother took the bus to the Naval Center as usual. They checked in at the gate. They walked to the maintenance building. But this time, Lily had a purpose. As soon as her mother was focused on her own work, Lily slipped away. She did not go to the weapons cleaning room. Instead, she went to the administration building. She had seen Master Chief Dalton's office once when she had walked past with her mother. It was on the first floor, a small room with a window that looked out onto the training yard. She stood outside the door for a full minute, building up her courage. Then she knocked. "Enter," came the deep voice from inside. Lily opened the door. Master Chief Dalton was sitting at his desk reviewing paperwork. He looked up and his eyes widened slightly in surprise. "Lily," he said, "is everything all right? Is your mother okay?" She's fine, sir, Lily said quickly. I needed to talk to you, if that's okay. Dalton set down his pen. He gestured to the chair across from his desk. Sit. Lily sat. She had practiced what she wanted to say, but now that she was here, the words felt jumbled and wrong. She took a breath. I want to know about my father, she said. I want to know who he was, what he did, why he left. And I think you're the only person who can tell me. Dalton leaned back in his chair. He studied her for a long moment. That's a heavy ask, Lily. Some of what your father did is classified. I can't tell you details. I don't need details, Lily said. I just need to understand. Was he a good man? Yes, Dalton said without hesitation. He was one of the best men I've ever known. Then why did he leave us? Lily's voice cracked. If he was so good, why did he just disappear? Dalton sighed. He stood up and walked to the window. He looked out at the training yard where young SEAL candidates were running drills, their faces set in determination. Your father, he said slowly, was a protector. That's what snipers are. We don't go looking for glory. We sit in the shadows, in the cold, in the heat, for hours, sometimes days. We watch, we wait. And when the moment comes, we take the shot that saves lives. He turned back to her. Javier was the best at that. He had patience, he had discipline, and he had something else. He had a conscience. Every shot he took, he carried with him. Not as a trophy, as a weight. 84, Lily whispered. Dalton's jaw tightened. I can't confirm numbers, but I can tell you this. Every mark your father made was to save lives, American lives, Allied lives, innocent lives. He never took a shot unless it was necessary, and even then, it cost him. Cost him how? Piece of his soul, Dalton said simply. That's what this job does. We do terrible things so that others don't have to. We carry darkness so that our families can live in the light. But sometimes the darkness gets too heavy, and we can't find our way back. Lily felt tears burning her eyes. I miss him, she whispered. I just want to know he's okay. I know, Dalton said. His voice was gentle. And if I knew where he was, I'd tell you. But I don't. I've looked. I've asked. He's gone deep, Lily. And maybe that's what he needs right now. Space, time, a chance to find himself again. What if he never does? Lily asked. What if he's just gone forever? Then you remember him the way he was, Dalton said. You remember that he loved you, that he served with honor, and you live a life that makes him proud. That's the best gift you can give him. Lily wiped her eyes. She nodded. She wanted to believe that. She wanted to believe her father was out there somewhere, healing, getting better. But part of her knew that might not be true. Part of her knew he might never come back. Can I ask you something else? She said. Of course. The rifle, you said you were going to keep it safe. Can I see it, sometimes? Dalton's expression softened. I think that can be arranged. But Lily, I need you to understand something. That rifle is not your father. It's a tool, a piece of metal and wood. Your father is more than what he did in the war. He's more than the rifle. Don't let it define him. I won't, Lily promised, but it's all I have left of him. It's proof that he was real, that he mattered. He mattered, Dalton said firmly. He still matters. And so do you. Lily left Master Chief Dalton's office with more questions than answers, but also with something she had not had before. Hope. Not hope that her father would come back. That was still too much to ask for, but hope that she could understand him, that she could know him even in his absence. Over the next month, something unexpected happened. Master Chief Dalton started showing up in the weapons cleaning room. Not to inspect, not to supervise. He would just appear, usually around 4:30 in the afternoon, and he would talk, sometimes to Maria, asking her how she was doing, if she needed anything. But mostly to Lily. He told her stories, never about classified missions, never about combat, but about the man Javier Martinez had been, about his dry sense of humor, about how he could sit perfectly still for 8 hours without complaint, about the time he had shared, his last protein bar with a stray dog they had found on base, then spent the rest of the day hungry. Your father, Dalton said one afternoon, leaning against the table while Lily cleaned a disassembled pistol, was the kind of man who remembered everyone's birthday. He kept a little notebook. Every guy in our unit, he'd write down their birthday, their wife's name, their kids' names, and he'd always find a way to do something small. Leave a candy bar on their bunk, draw a funny picture and tape it to their locker. Small things, but they mattered. Lily smiled. She remembered that about him, how he used to leave little notes in her lunchbox, just simple things. Have a good day, Misha. Or, you're going to do great on your test. She had forgotten about those notes until now. Did he have friends? Lily asked. In the teams, I mean? He had brothers, Dalton said. That's different than friends. We were family. We trusted each other with our lives. His face darkened slightly. But that trust, it can be hard to find again in the civilian world. When you've been in that kind of bond, regular friendships feel shallow. I think that's part of what Javier struggled with. Do you still talk to the other guys? The ones who served with him? Dalton nodded. Some of them. A few have passed. A few got out and started over. But there's a core of us who stay in touch. We have reunions every few years. Drink beer, tell old stories, pretend we're not getting old. Could I meet them? Lily asked suddenly. The ones who knew him? Dalton looked surprised, then thoughtful. That's not a small ask, Lily. These men, they're scattered all over the country, and talking about the past, especially about brothers we've lost touch with, it's not easy. I know, Lily said, but I need to hear it. I need to know who he was from people who really knew him, not just from articles and forums online, from real people. Dalton was quiet for a moment. Then he nodded slowly. Let me make some calls. No promises, but I'll try. 2 weeks later, Lily received a message through her mother. Master Chief Dalton wanted to meet with them on Saturday, not at the base, at a different location. That Saturday morning, Maria and Lily took a bus to a neighborhood they had never been to before. It was a working-class area, modest homes with small yards. Dalton had given them an address, and when they arrived, they found themselves standing in front of a veterans hall. It was a simple building, brick and concrete, with a faded American flag flying out front. Dalton was waiting at the door. He was not in uniform today. He wore jeans and a simple black shirt. He looked different, more relaxed, but also more vulnerable somehow. Thank you for coming, he said. I know this is unusual. What is this place? Maria asked. It's where we meet, Dalton said. Once a month, some of us from the old teams, we call it the Saturday Brotherhood. We drink coffee, play cards, talk. It helps. He looked at Lily. 3 men who served with your father are inside. They've agreed to talk to you, but you need to understand these are not easy conversations. If at any point you want to leave, you just say so, okay? Lily nodded. Her heart was pounding. She was about to meet men who had fought beside her father, who had trusted him with their lives. It felt surreal. They entered the hall. Inside, it was simple. There were folding tables and chairs, a small kitchen area, and walls covered with photos and memorabilia. Pictures of young men in uniform, flags, challenge coins mounted in display cases. This was a shrine to service, to sacrifice, to brotherhood. 3 men sat at a table near the back. They all stood when Lily and Maria entered. They were all older, probably in their 50s or early 60s. One was tall and lean with graying hair pulled back in a ponytail. One was shorter and stocky with a full beard. The third was bald with dark skin and intense eyes. Gentlemen, Dalton said, this is Maria Martinez and her daughter Lily, Javier's family. The 3 men looked at Lily with expressions that ranged from surprise to something that looked like pain. The tall one with the ponytail spoke first. Lord have mercy, he said softly. She's got his eyes, exactly his eyes. He stepped forward and extended his hand to Maria. Ma'am, my name is Derek Holland. I served with Javier for 6 years. I'm honored to meet you. The bearded man came next. Paul Santos, he said. His voice was rough, like he had swallowed gravel. Javier saved my life in Fallujah. I owe him everything. The bald man was last. Marcus Cole, he said simply. He shook Maria's hand, then looked at Lily. Your father was my spotter. Best I ever had. I'm sorry we lost touch with him. They all sat down at the table. Dalton brought over a pot of coffee and some cups. There was an awkwardness at first, a heavy silence. No one seemed to know how to start. Finally, Lily spoke. Can you tell me about him? Not about the war, just about who he was, what he was like. Derek smiled. Javier was quiet, I mean really quiet. Some guys, they talk all the time, trying to fill the silence. Not Javier. He could go a whole day and say maybe 10 words, but when he did speak, it mattered. He didn't waste words. He was funny, though, Paul added. In a deadpan kind of way, he'd say something completely straight-faced, and you wouldn't realize it was a joke until 5 seconds later. Then you'd be laughing while he just stared at you like you were crazy. Marcus nodded. He had this thing where he'd hum. When he was focused, really locked in, he'd hum these old songs. Mexican folk songs, I think. Real quiet, almost under his breath. It drove some guys crazy, but I found it calming. It meant Javier was in the zone. And when Javier was in the zone, we were safe. What kind of songs? Lily asked. Her voice was tight. She remembered this. She remembered her father, humming while he worked on the car, while he cooked dinner. She had forgotten until this moment. I don't know the names, Marcus said, but they were slow, melancholy, pretty though. Maria made a small sound. She was crying. His grandmother used to sing those to him when he was a boy. He told me once before we were married. They were the only thing that calmed him down when he was scared. The men were quiet. There was a weight to this information, a sadness. He was scared? Derek asked gently. Not of combat, Maria said, wiping her eyes. He was never scared of that, but of failing people, of letting them down. That terrified him. He never failed anyone, Paul said firmly. Not once, not ever. Then why did he leave us? The question burst out of Lily before she could stop it. If he never failed anyone, why did he fail us? The room went silent. The men exchanged looks. It was Marcus who finally spoke. Because, Lily, the weight of never failing anyone is crushing. Your father carried every life he saved, every mission he completed, every brother he protected. He carried it all, and there's no room for that weight in a normal life. There's no place to put it down. We all struggle with it, Derek said. Some of us drink, some of us can't sleep, some of us can't hold jobs. But we have each other. We have this place. We can talk about it. Your father, he didn't have that. He left the teams and he left us. And I think he thought he could just become someone else. But you can't do that. You can't just turn it off. Did he try to reach out? Maria asked. After he left the Navy, did he try to contact any of you? Paul shook his head. He cut everyone off. We tried. We called. We sent letters to the last address we had. Nothing. It was like he vanished. He was ashamed, Marcus said. I know Javier. I know how he thought. He was ashamed that he couldn't hack it, that he needed help. Men like us were trained to be strong, invincible. Asking for help feels like weakness, and weakness feels like failure. It's not weakness, Dalton said quietly. It's being human. We know that now, Marcus said, but it took me 2 divorces and a bottle of whiskey a day to figure it out. Some guys never do. Lily felt a strange mix of emotions. Anger at her father for being too proud to ask for help. Sadness for the pain he must have been carrying. And a deep, aching empathy for a man who had tried so hard to be strong that he had broken under the weight. Can I ask you something? Lily said. All of you, if you could talk to him, if he was here right now, what would you say? The men looked at each other. Derek spoke first. I'd tell him I miss him, that we all do, that there's no judgment here, that he can come home. Paul nodded. I'd tell him he's still my brother, no matter what, no matter how long it's been. Marcus stared at his coffee cup. I'd tell him that the weight gets lighter when you share it, that he doesn't have to carry it alone. Dalton added, I'd tell him that his daughter is smart and strong and asking the right questions, and that he should be here to see who she's becoming. Lily felt tears running down her face. She wiped them away quickly. Thank you, she whispered. Thank you for telling me. They spent another hour together. The men told more stories, funny ones this time, about training exercises gone wrong, about practical jokes, about the time Javier had accidentally locked himself in a supply closet and had been too embarrassed to call for help. so he had just waited 3 hours until someone found him. Maria laughed for the first time in what felt like years. Lily saw a side of her father she had never known, a man who was human, who made mistakes, who laughed and joked and lived. When it was time to leave, each of the men gave Lily something. Derek gave her a challenge coin from their unit. Paul gave her a photo, a group shot from years ago, with her father in the middle, smiling. Marcus gave her a small notebook. "Your father kept this," he said. "It's not his operational notebook. That's classified and destroyed. But this was his personal one. He wrote in it sometimes. Thoughts, observations. I found it in a box of old gear. I think he'd want you to have it." Lily held the notebook like it was made of glass. "Thank you," she said. "Thank you all." As they walked back to the bus stop, Maria put her arm around Lily's shoulders. "Are you okay, mija?" "I think so," Lily said. "I'm sad. But I also feel like I understand him now. Not completely, but more than before." "Me too," Maria said softly. That night, Lily opened the notebook. The handwriting was messy, rushed. Some entries were just single lines, others were longer. She read them slowly, savoring each word. March 12, 2002. "Watched the sunset today. Red and orange. Made me think of home. Made me think of Maria's smile. I need to remember there's beauty. Even here." June 8, 2003. "Santos almost got hit today. I saw the shooter first. One shot. Santos doesn't know how close it was. Better that way. Carry the weight so he doesn't have to." September 23, 2004. Dreamed about having a family, a little girl with Maria's laugh. Would she be proud of me or scared of what I've become? Lily stopped reading. She closed the notebook. She held it to her chest and cried. Big, heaving sobs that shook her whole body. Her father had wanted her. He had dreamed of her. And then he had met her, had loved her, and had left because he did not know how to be the father she deserved. The weeks turned into months. Lily continued to go to the Naval Center with her mother. She continued to help clean weapons. But now, once a month, she also went to the Veterans Hall. She became a regular at the Saturday Brotherhood. The men welcomed her. They told her stories. They let her be part of their family. And slowly, Lily began to heal. Not completely. The wound of her father's absence would always be there, but it was not as raw. It was not as consuming. She had a context now. She understood. Master Chief Dalton became something like a mentor to her. He encouraged her to apply to a special summer program at the Naval Academy for high school students interested in military service. She did. She got in. He also kept his promise. The M40A1 rifle, the one with her father's name engraved on it, was placed in a display case in his office. And once a week, Lily would visit. She would sit in front of the case and just look at it. She would trace her fingers over the glass, imagining her father's hands on that wood stock, imagining him in some faraway place, protecting others. One day, almost a year after she had first found the rifle, Lily arrived at Dalton's office for her weekly visit. But the case was empty. The rifle was gone. Her heart dropped. "Master Chief," she called out, panicked. Dalton emerged from a back room. He was not alone. Behind him walked a man. He was thin, too thin, with a scruffy beard and long hair. He wore old jeans and a faded jacket. His face was weathered and lined, but his eyes, sharp and blue, were unmistakable. Lily stopped breathing. "Mija," the man said. His voice was rough, like he had not used it in a long time. But it was him. It was her father. Javier Martinez stood in the doorway, looking at his daughter like he was seeing a ghost. His eyes filled with tears. "I'm sorry," he whispered. "I'm so, so sorry." Lily did not move. She could not. 1,000 emotions crashed through her at once. Anger, relief, joy, grief. She wanted to run to him. She wanted to scream at him. She wanted to collapse. "How?" she finally managed to say. Dalton stepped forward. "He called me 2 days ago. He'd heard through the network that you'd been asking about him, that you'd met the guys. He was living in Montana, working construction, off-grid. But when he heard you were looking for him, he knew he couldn't hide anymore." Javier took a tentative step forward. He looked terrified, like he expected Lily to reject him, to turn away. I don't expect you to forgive me, he said. I don't expect anything. I just needed you to know that I didn't leave because of you. I left because of me, because I was broken and I didn't know how to fix myself. Are you fixed now? Lily asked. Her voice was cold, defensive. She was protecting herself. No, Javier said honestly. I'm not. I'm still broken, but I'm trying. I've been seeing someone, a counselor, at the VA. I'm working on it. And I thought maybe if you wanted, I could try to be your father again. Not the way I was before, but something new, something better. Lily looked at him. She saw the man who had left her. But she also saw the man who had saved 84 lives, the man who had hummed old songs, the man who had dreamed of a daughter who would be proud of him. I read your notebook, she said, the one Marcus gave me. Javier's eyes widened. He gave you that? You wrote about me, Lily said. Before I was born, you wanted me. I did, Javier said, his voice breaking. I do. You're the best thing I ever did, the only good thing. You did a lot of good things, Lily said. I've learned that. From Master Chief Dalton, from Derek and Paul and Marcus. You saved lives, you protected people. That matters. It doesn't make up for what I did to you and your mother, Javier said. No, Lily agreed, it doesn't. But maybe it's a start. They stood there, father and daughter, separated by years of pain and absence. And then Lily made a choice. She stepped forward. She closed the distance. And she hugged her father. He was thinner than she remembered. He smelled like cigarettes and cheap soap, but he was warm. He was real. And his arms wrapped around her like he would never let go. I missed you, Lily whispered. I missed you too, mija, Javier said, tears streaming down his face. Every single day. Master Chief Dalton quietly stepped out of the room, giving them privacy. He had done what he could. The rest was up to them. Later, they sat in the conference room where Lily and her mother had first learned the truth. This time, Javier was with them. Maria had been called, and when she arrived and saw her husband, she had frozen in the doorway. The anger and hurt were visible on her face, but so was the relief, the love. They did not rush into each other's arms. There was too much unresolved, too much pain. But they sat at the same table and they talked, really talked, for the first time in years. Javier explained where he had been, what he had been doing. He talked about the nightmares, the flashbacks, the crushing guilt. He talked about the nights he had thought about ending it, but had not because somewhere deep down he had hoped he might find his way back to them. Maria cried, she yelled, she told him how hard it had been, how scared she had been, how Lily had blamed herself. Javier listened. He did not make excuses. He just listened and apologized. I don't know if I can trust you again, Maria said finally. I don't know if we can be a family. I understand, Javier said. I'm not asking for that. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I want to try to be a father to Lily, if she'll let me. Even if you and I can never fix what's broken between us, I want to know my daughter. Maria looked at Lily. It's your choice, mija. I won't force you either way. Lily thought about it. She thought about the rifle, the notebook, the stories, the men at the Veterans Hall. She thought about the weight her father had carried. And she thought about the fact that he had finally come back, not because it was easy, but because he had heard she was looking for him. I want to try, Lily said, but you have to promise me something. Anything, Javier said. You have to keep going to counseling. You have to keep trying to get better. And you have to be honest. No more lies, no more disappearing. If you need help, you ask. Deal? Javier nodded. Deal. It was not a fairy tale ending. It was messy and complicated and uncertain. But it was real. And it was a beginning. Over the next year, Javier slowly rebuilt a relationship with his daughter. He moved back to California, renting a small apartment near the base. He got a job working with a veteran-owned construction company. He attended therapy twice a week. And every Saturday, he went to the Veterans Hall with Lily. The Brotherhood welcomed him back. There were tears, there were tight hugs, there were long conversations. Derek, Paul, and Marcus surrounded him. And for the first time in years, Javier did not feel alone. He and Maria did not get back together. The trust had been broken too deeply, but they learned to be civil, to co-parent, to respect each other. It was enough. Lily flourished. She excelled in the Naval Academy summer program. She made plans to apply to college, maybe even to pursue a military career. Master Chief Dalton wrote her a recommendation letter that praised her determination, her integrity, and her compassion. One afternoon, a year and a half after Javier had returned, Lily and her father sat in Master Chief Dalton's office. The M40A1 rifle was back in its display case. Javier had asked to see it. He stood in front of the case for a long time, not speaking. Finally, he said, "I thought this was lost. I thought everything from that life was gone." "Lily found it," Dalton said. "She was cleaning it. She saw your name." Javier looked at his daughter. "You were always meant to find it. I believe that now. Everything that happened, it led to this moment." "Do you regret it?" Lily asked. "Your service?" "No," Javier said. "I regret how I handled it afterward. But the service itself, no. I did what I was trained to do. I protected people. I saved lives. That's worth something." 84, Lily said quietly. Javier's face tightened. "You know about that." "I figured it out," Lily said. "The number on the rifle, 84 confirmed saves. 84 times you protected someone." Javier closed his eyes. 84 times I took a life to save others. It's not heroic, Lily. It's necessary, but it's not something to celebrate. "I'm not celebrating it," Lily said. "But I'm not ashamed of it either. You did what you had to do, and you paid a price for it, but you're still here. You're still trying. That's what matters." Javier looked at his daughter. She had grown so much. She was taller now, her face losing the softness of childhood. She looked like her mother, but her eyes, sharp and observant, were his. "You're going to do great things, mija," he said, "work greater than I ever did." "I learned from the best," Lily said. Master Chief Dalton smiled. He had watched this reunion unfold over months. He had seen a broken family slowly stitch itself back together. It was not perfect. It never would be. But it was real, and it was honest, and that was enough. 2 years later, Lily Martinez graduated high school with honors. She received a congressional nomination to the United States Naval Academy. At her graduation party, held at the Veterans Hall, the Brotherhood gathered to celebrate. Derek, Paul, Marcus, and a dozen other veterans from her father's unit came. They wore their dress uniforms. They brought gifts and stories and pride. Javier stood at the back of the room, watching his daughter laugh and talk with men who had once been his brothers. He felt Maria's presence beside him. She had come, despite their separation, because this was about Lily. "You did good," Maria said quietly. "She's strong." "She gets that from you," Javier said. "She gets it from both of us," Maria corrected. "You came back. That took strength too." Javier nodded. He had been back for 2 years now. 2 years of therapy, 2 years of rebuilding. 2 years of learning to live with the weight he carried. It had not gotten lighter, but he had gotten stronger. Master Chief Dalton approached them carrying a long rectangular case. It was wooden, polished to a high shine. He handed it to Javier. "What's this?" Javier asked. "Open it," Dalton said. Javier set the case on a nearby table and opened the latches. Inside, resting on red velvet, was the M40A1 rifle, the one with his name on it, the one with the initials and the number 84. "I don't understand," Javier said. "It's yours," Dalton said. "It was always yours. I've kept it safe. But now it's time for it to go home. You don't have to display it. You don't have to look at it. But it's part of your story, part of Lily's story, and it belongs with your family." Javier stared at the rifle. He had not touched it in over 15 years. He reached out slowly, his fingers brushing the woodstock. The carvings he had made, the initials, the number, it all came flooding back. The missions, the shots, the lives saved, the weight carried. But this time it did not crush him. This time he felt something else. Pride, not in the killing, but in the protecting, in the brotherhood, in the man he had been and the man he was trying to become. "Thank you," Javier said, his voice thick with emotion, "for keeping it safe, for bringing my daughter into this world I tried to leave behind." She brought herself, Dalton said. I just opened the door. Lily approached them. She looked at the rifle, then at her father. Are you okay? She asked. Yeah, mija, Javier said. I'm okay. Good, Lily said. She smiled. Because I want you to tell me about it. Not today, not tomorrow, but someday. I want to know the stories, the real ones, the hard ones, because they're part of you, and you're part of me, and I'm not afraid of the truth. Javier looked at his daughter, at this remarkable young woman who had found a forgotten rifle and had refused to let it, or him, remain forgotten. He pulled her into a hug. Someday, he promised. When you're ready, I'll tell you everything. The party continued. The veterans told stories. They laughed. They remembered fallen brothers. They celebrated new beginnings. And in the corner, in its polished wooden case, the M40A1 rifle rested, no longer forgotten, no longer a symbol of pain, but a bridge between a past that could not be changed and a future that could still be written. Lily Martinez stood with her father and her mother, surrounded by men and women who had served, who had sacrificed, who had carried unimaginable weight. She understood now. She understood that heroism was not about being unbreakable. It was about breaking and finding the courage to put yourself back together. She understood that family was not just about blood. It was about showing up, about doing the hard work, about choosing connection over comfort. And she understood that sometimes the smallest act, cleaning a forgotten rifle, asking the right question, refusing to give up, could change everything. 3 months later, Lily stood on the grounds of the Naval Academy in Annapolis, Maryland. She was in her plebe uniform, stiff and new. Her parents stood with her, both of them together for the first time in years. It was awkward, it was imperfect, but they were there. Javier looked at his daughter with tears in his eyes. I'm proud of you, mija. So proud. I know, Papa, Lily said. I'm proud of you too. Maria hugged her daughter. Be safe, be strong, and remember, you carry your own weight. Not his, not mine, yours. I will, Mama, Lily promised. As her parents left, Lily stood alone on the yard. She reached into her pocket and pulled out the challenge coin Derek had given her. She turned it over in her fingers. On one side, the unit insignia. On the other, a simple phrase. Brotherhood, honor, sacrifice. She thought about her father, about Master Chief Dalton, about Derek, Paul, Marcus, and all the others. She thought about the rifle with 84 marks, about the weight of protecting others, about the cost of service. And she made a promise to herself. She would serve with honor, she would protect with compassion. And when the weight became too heavy, she would not run. She would reach out, she would ask for help. She would remember that strength was not about carrying everything alone. It was about knowing when to share the load. Lily Martinez walked toward her dormitory, toward her new life, toward her future. Behind her, in a small apartment in California, the M40A1 rifle rested in its case. The serial number gleamed in the afternoon light. The initials, JRM, were worn but visible. And the number, 84, remained a testament to a man who had given everything, had lost himself, and had found his way back. Not because of the rifle, not because of the war, but because of a daughter who refused to forget him, who cleaned a weapon she did not understand and found a story worth saving, who proved that sometimes the most powerful weapon is not made of metal and wood, it is made of love, determination, and the refusal to give up on the people who matter. And that is where our story ends, a story about a janitor's daughter, a forgotten rifle, and a father who came back from the darkness. I hope it gave you something to think about, maybe made you consider the weight that others carry, the struggles we do not see, the courage it takes to ask for help. Drop a comment if this story moved you. Let me know your thoughts. And if you want more stories like this, hit that like button and subscribe. It helps more than you know. Thanks for listening, and I will see you in the next one.